Welcome back to the Swimming World Podcast, Swim and Tell. I'm your host, Sophia Knapp, UVA swimmer, and today we have one of the most exciting guests joining us. She's a two-time Olympian, Olympic gold medalist, world champion, and now back-to-back World Cup Series champion, the legendary Kate Douglas.
Hi, so excited. This is awesome. So fun getting interviewed by a teammate.
Swim and Tell is brought to you by DeVore, styled by science, engineered for the water. Faster with DeVore. Hit the QR code for more. We are so thrilled to have you. Kate just wrapped up a spectacular 2025 World Cup season, defending her series title and finishing as the top overall scorer with 177.5 points, edging out Gretchen Walsh in one of the tightest finishes we've ever seen. She took triple crowns in the 100 free, 100 breast, and 200 breast, even breaking a world record in the 100 freestyle with a 49.93 in Toronto. Kate, congratulations on an absolutely historic run. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, it was so much fun, so exciting, but super nice to be back on my normal schedule and routine of things in Charlottesville.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to start with that insane 49.93 world record in the 100 free. You're the first woman in history to ever go under 50 seconds, breaking a barrier no one had touched before. Walk me through that race.
Yeah, I think, 49 was never even in my sights until the Westmont stop where I went like 50.1 and broke the world record for the first time. I think I wasn't really expecting that. I think, my freestyle had felt good leading up to that race. And I really just wanted to, give it my all to try to get a third win at that stop. And so I think after breaking that world record, I was like, well, I'm so close to 49. Like it would be super cool if I could break that barrier. And yeah, I didn't really know if that was going to be possible. I wasn't sure if I was going to get faster in Toronto, but yeah, I knew I could take the race out pretty fast. And I felt confident that after a few days of a little bit more rest leading up to Toronto, that I was going to be able to finish that race faster. And yeah, I think my sprint freestyle just felt really great those, 3 weeks. And yeah, I was just really excited to get up there and sprint an all-out 100.
Yeah, tell me what it felt like while you were racing. Were you aware you were about to make history?
I definitely could see, the girls were, you know, definitely with me that first 50, and I felt like I knew I had to really push my underwaters to, really get myself out ahead of the field, and I was able to do that in that second 50, and I think that really helped me a lot. But yeah, I could feel those girls coming up. It was really nice to be able to race a great field of 100 freestylers, but then yeah, on the last lap, I kind of felt like I saw myself, surging ahead of the field, and I didn't really know until I touched the wall, if it was going to be a 49 or not.
Yeah, that is so exciting. What was going through your mind when you touched the wall and saw your time come up on the board?
Yeah, I think it was just super awesome. Just it kind of was, not something that I had really thought about, prior to like 2 weeks before that race. And so I think I just was super excited. I think, a lot of people had joked like, oh, 49 tonight. And I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe. And then I was like, wow, like I actually did that, that's pretty cool. And so I think, that just got me really excited about the 100 free and about possibly racing it more in the future. And yeah, I think it just was overall like a big surprise, but I was just really proud of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so exciting. How did you celebrate that unforgettable moment?
I mean, I guess, it's always fun at those meets when the Triple Crown winner gets to, put the crown on their head and do the interview with John Mason. And so it was fun to get to like kind of celebrate at the meet. And then obviously because of that race, I was able to win the overall, which was also kind of a surprise and exciting. And so I feel like, they did a big celebration for that and it was fun. And then, yeah, just being able to, kind of celebrate that the whole World Cup experience was over at that last session. That was my last race of, the entirety of the World Cup, which also was just a really great feeling to know that I was done, it was over, I accomplished, more than I expected I would. And feel like it was nice to be able to just celebrate, the whole experience and enjoy a few days off.
Yeah, for sure. That race was absolutely legendary. It really redefined what's possible in women's sprinting. Speaking of dominant performances, you didn't just set a world record, you swept three triple crowns undefeated in the 100 free, 100 breast, and 200 breast, defending your overall title. That's huge. What does it mean to you to win the World Cup Series 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely means a lot. It, again, kind of was not what I was expecting coming into this year. I think even last year, it was so fun, me and Reagan kind of battling it out. And the points were so tight. And so I knew going into this year, there's so much more competition. There were so many more girls who were going to challenge for, triple crowns and for also the overall. And so I knew that whoever was going to win the overall would have to win all three of their events at all three stops. And I feel like going into the meet, I chose to swim the 100 breast and the 100 free, which I hadn't really done before. I didn't swim those last year. And so it was kind of fun to be able to figure out new events. And I wasn't really sure where I would place in those. And then I think after the first stop, I was kind of like, okay, I have a chance of winning the Triple Crown in these races. And so I think that just kind of motivated me to, keep focusing on those races throughout the weeks of training and at the next two stops. And so, yeah, I think overall it was just a surprise, but yeah, I mean, everyone else, it just was kind of crazy how everyone else swam so well too. I mean, it was super hard to even be like in the top 10 at that meet. It was crazy. There was so much competition. And I mean, obviously, like Gretchen also won three triple crowns, which was amazing too. So I feel like, we both didn't know who was going to win at the last stop. We both just kind of gave it our all in our races. And yeah, ultimately, her world records are just so fast that it brought her points down, which, is kind of funny. But yeah, obviously, I was really happy with it.
Yeah, those were some phenomenal performances across the board. I love hearing the passion and excitement and the little competitive edge that goes into the World Cup racing.
Yeah.
Kate, you seem to get stronger over the 3 weeks of racing, Carmel, Westmont, and then Toronto. How do you keep your energy up and stay focused throughout the series?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to. I feel like the hardest part of the World Cup is the training in between all of the stops because, you finish a meet and then you got to go to the next stop and then you have to get back to training, back to a little bit of lifting. And so it's kind of hard to manage how to figure out what to do because you don't want to do too much to make yourself tired, but you want to be able to maintain, I feel like, your strength and stuff. And I feel like that's where I really just lean on my coaches. I leaned on Todd and, I just kind of did whatever he told me and I trusted it. And I definitely didn't feel great at all the stops. I think Westmont, I was like, wow, why am I going, slower in the breaststroke events? And so that kind of motivated me to kind of just figure out, what I could fix in those races to see how I could get better in Toronto. And I feel like for the third stop, it's always easier to take a little bit off of training and rest a little bit because it's just the last stop. You don't have to worry about doing another meet after that. And so I think in Toronto, we're all just kind of pumped up to swim our last races and just kind of be done. And so I think it's easier to swim faster at that last stop just because it's the last one.
I love that. 3 weeks, three meets, and you just kept getting faster and faster. The World Cup meets look so electric on TV, fast swims, international stars, and high energy. What is something about the behind the scenes of these meets that most fans don't see?
I mean, I think, yeah, kind of what I just said. People don't really see, the training that we have to do in between each stop. We're doing doubles, we're lifting, we have to maintain our strength and our endurance. We can't just kind of go to the pool and splash around, for three
Yeah.
days before the meet, or you're going to go slower. And so I think that's really just the hardest part because also we want to explore the new cities that we're in. We want to do fun things that, fun opportunities that World Aquatics gets to offer us. And so, it's just really exhausting. I feel like there were some days where I'd go train in the morning and then I'd go explore or do an activity all day and then I'd go straight back to the pool and have to train at night. And I really didn't have much free time. And so I think that was really just the most difficult part for me was just, you know, trying to manage my time, making sure I had a little bit of time to myself because I was honestly really booked and busy those 3 weeks, which I think people don't really realize. They maybe think that we just sit around a hotel room or just like get to, walk around and explore. But yeah, really, we don't have much time because we're trying to take care of our bodies and keep up our training while also, exploring and having a little bit of fun.
Absolutely. It is a very hectic, busy 3 weeks from what I've heard and can understand.
Yeah.
Out of all the World Cup stops, which city was your favorite?
I mean, I definitely think Toronto was the coolest just because I'd never been there before. I definitely wish we got to explore the city a little bit more because we were pretty far from the city, but we did get to go in once for a hockey game, which was really cool. I'd never been to one before, and so that was really awesome to get to experience that and just kind of get to be a part of, the Toronto sports spirit there because they're obviously really into their sports teams that they have. And then just getting to see the city at night, it was really beautiful. And I hope to be able to go back so that I could explore it a little bit more.
Yeah, that sounds so fun. And a hockey game as like a little celebratory break also sounds
Yeah,
incredible.
it was nice.
Your versatility is incredible. Freestyle, breaststroke, IM. How do you manage training for such different strokes and distances?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I feel like at UVA, they've done a great job of kind of letting each of us swimmers kind of, mix up what we're training each day and, what coach we're training with. And so I think this fall, especially, I've kind of bounced around a lot. I've done a lot of different practices. And I think, that obviously helps. I'm able to do a lot of different practices and a lot of different strokes. And so I think the coaches do a good job of just kind of spreading that out, being able to spread the wealth among all of my different abilities. And it's kind of nice to be able to come in one day and focus on 200 breaststroke and then come in the next day and kind of switch gears and do, 50 freestyle practice. I think I really enjoy that just so I don't get like burnt out, of one of the, many different strokes or events that I could choose. And so, yeah, it's definitely fun to be able to train different things.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your favorite part of your current training setup, and how has your approach evolved since turning pro?
I mean, I guess honestly, like a lot of my training is pretty similar to what it was when I was in undergrad before I was pro, just because, we've kind of got the same schedule that we used to have, which is really nice, that it hasn't really changed much. But I definitely think now as a pro, I have a lot more say and I can kind of, think about what events I want to focus on at the end of the year and just kind of build my training schedule around that and kind of figure out, what I want to swim at each meet throughout the year. And so it's definitely just a little bit more of, me getting to choose what I want to do, and what I'm excited about training. And yeah, I think it's nice to be able to come in one day and if I'm not feeling up to doing one practice, I could kind of just switch it up and, choose to do something else. But yeah, I feel like I've really just enjoyed being able to switch things up, train with different coaches, train with different groups, being able to just, mix it up, swim with everyone on the team.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. You've accomplished just about everything. Olympic gold, world records, NCAA titles, now back-to-back World Cup crowns. What is motivating you right now? What is next for Kate Douglas in and out of the pool?
That's a great question. Sometimes I feel like I ask myself that still. But I mean, yeah, I think right now, obviously, like people really are talking a lot about the build up to LA 2028. And I feel like that is kind of like the end goal in mind here. It's like, how can I make it to that? How can I, be the best version of myself in 2028 to try and make the team again? And so for now, I feel like it's kind of just, taking it day by day, figuring out how to enjoy swimming, not put too much effort into it, like mentally, trying not to get burnt out. I think, it's important for me to kind of take a step back from swimming after a big meet like the World Cup. And so I plan on taking a little bit of a break this winter so that I can hopefully be recharged and refreshed to really focus on Pan Packs this summer. And yeah, I think it just kind of is taking it year by year and just focusing on the big meet at the end of the year, the one where I can really try to go best times, see if I can better my times. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of what's getting me motivated through practice these days.
For sure. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. It's amazing to hear the real stories behind your racing. Now we're going to switch things up a little bit with some fun rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
What is your go-to pump up song for Behind the Blocks?
I would say Purple Hat by Sophie Tucker.
Yes,
Good one.
it's a good one. Do you have any pre-race superstitions?
Um, Gosh, honestly, no. I don't think I have any superstitions before my races. I mean, I guess I would say that like I have to have a coffee like on the way to the pool, or else like it's not a good day. That's probably not a great superstition, but yeah, it's something that I have to do.
Coffee's pretty routine. I don't know if I'd count that one. I need my coffee too. Um, what first got you into swimming, and when did you realize you could take it to the elite level?
I guess, I started doing swim lessons and, summer swim team when I was young, just for fun, just to pass the time, because I feel like, parents just put their kids in the swim team. And then I think, yeah, I realized that I was pretty good at it, and I started just year-round swimming, and that just kind of, yeah, got me to college, got me to where I am now.
Yeah. Okay, okay. This one is one of my favorite questions to ask. What is your advice to a younger swimmer hoping to accomplish big things?
I mean, I guess my advice would be just to, not take things too seriously. I think for a while I did that, and that made it more difficult to, come back from failures and from disappointment. And so I think just making sure you have fun, you're enjoying what you're doing, and just kind of embrace the pain and the grind of practice. It's, gonna get easier as you go.
Absolutely. That was great. I hope our young listeners were locked in on that part.
So,
What is your like post-meet meal? Like your go-to?
post meet meal. Gosh, I guess like after like the last session of a meet, I usually want something like pretty unhealthy. Like I would say like burger, fries, milkshake, like that's like Shake Shack.
Yeah.
That's usually like a go-to.
Well, that is all we have for today, unless you remember any funny swim memories.
I think so.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kate, for joining us today. We are so excited to continue to cheer you on, and we're so grateful that you had the time to join us today.
Thank you.
All right. Talk soon.
Yes, bye.
Bye.